take a look at the top stories that made headlines across the globe this week. A presidential aspirant on the platform of the All Progressive Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, claims that he led the political struggle that led to the emergence of President Muhammadu Buhari in 2015, in spite of mounting odds against the newly formed party. Tinubu also says he nominated Prof. Yemi Osinbajo as Buhari's running mate to prevent a political stalemate within the APC that could have cost it the presidency. He spoke at the Presidential Lodge in Abeokuta in Ogun state capital while addressing APC delegates in the state ahead of the party's primaries on Monday. He says that Buhari had offered him the APC vice presidential ticket, but that some power blocks within the party, led by Bukola Saraki, rose against him, fanning the members of Muslim ticket. He added that he later settled for Osinbajo as the running mate to Buhari, so as not to jeopardize the party's chances in 2015, while noting that Saraki fought him because he wanted the Senate presidency as a fellow Muslim too.
Tí ó bá sí àwa èmi tí ń dúró wájú yìí tí ń lérí ogun tí ní òkè Buhari nìṣó ká máa bá lọ. Kò lè di president. Ó ṣe kìíní olùlẹ̀. Ó ṣe kejì olùlẹ̀. Ó ṣe kẹta olùlẹ̀. Ó tiẹ̀ sunkún lórí tẹlifíṣàn pé láyé òun ò tún rán mọ́. Mo dẹ̀ lọ bá Kaduna wa rán ọ̀rọ̀ ẹkún kọ́ lélẹ̀. Àdúró tiẹ̀ wà á dẹ̀ wọlé. Nǹkan kan ní pé o ò ní fọ̀rọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá ṣeré. Ó dẹ̀ gbà. Àtijọ́ tó yẹ ti débẹ̀, mi ò gba mínísítà, mi ò gba contract, mi ì tọrọ ọbẹ̀, mi ì tọrọ gàrí, mi ì tọrọ fúra lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀, mi ì dẹ̀ ìyàwó ń bẹ̀. Ó wá ní lọ́tẹ̀ yìí o, Yorùbá ló kàn. Tá a bá dẹ̀ sa Yorùbá náà, èmi ló kàn. Eléyìí tí mo protect àwọn ọmọ tí mo gbé dání tó, èmi náà fẹ́ ṣe present. Mi ò fẹ́ kán pa mí mọ́tàn.
I do not have a doubt in my mind, and I'm sure there's no doubt in your mind as to why our leader has come. Our leader, our people have listened to you very well. I'm sure they've digested everything you've said. Rest assured that we will do the right thing. We shall do the right thing. You have justified and stated clearly why power must come to not just the South, but the Southwest.
Now, in separate statements last night, however, APC presidential aspirant Bola Tinubu and his campaign organization dismissed what they referred to as an unnecessary insinuation in some quarters that the former Lagos State governor's remarks were aimed at casting President Muhammadu Buhari in any form of bad light. Tinubu went down memory lane and declared that his association with the president had been the building block and many successes of the ruling party. He said that he could not have gone out of his way to demean the same office he was aspiring to. Now, following comments made yesterday in Abeokuta, Ogun State, by APC presidential aspirant Bola Tinubu about people he helped to positions of power, Governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, has responded to some of the claims made by the former governor of Lagos. In a tweet that went viral on Friday, the governor, amongst other things, wrote, "I am not an emperor by any chance, and this is not my family inheritance. I am holding this trust for the people of the state, and I have vowed to be fair, just, and equitable, and this is the solemn agreement I made between the Almighty God and myself." Meanwhile, a former secretary of the government of the Federation, Babachir Lawal, has spoken in the same vein, dismissing Senator Tinubu's claims about single-handedly installing President Muhammadu Buhari in 2015. He condemned the manner in which Tinubu sought to convey his feelings, especially his choice of language and perceived lack of consideration for his audience. In his words, the former SGF says, and I quote, "When Yorubas vilify the North like this, our sense of fear and insecurity under a Yoruba presidency gets heightened, and in the end, pushes us to rethink our support for not only Bola, but any other Yoruba president for that matter." Now, Steve, before we carry on, let's just carry on a little bit and give you some more. The Ogun State Commissioner for Information, Waheed Odushele, has, however, denied that Governor Dapo Abiodun made any tweets on Friday, which made any reference to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu or his Thursday's visit to Abeokuta. In a statement, the commissioner declared that the said tweet was made by Governor Abiodun on the occasion of his 62nd birthday, 5 days before the visit of Tinubu to the state. The statement claimed that certain segments of the media just wanted to sensationalize the story by regurgitating that tweet. Steve, so many moving parts. The famous or infamous utterances by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which has got tongues wagging. Firstly, there are different sides to it, different takes to it, but I think everyone completely agrees on how tone deaf this was. It was, in so many ways, it reeked of entitlement. It reeked of egocentrism. It reeked of personal interest. And while, of course, the Tinubu camp has come out to say, look, miscommunication here and there, it sounds like a bit of a band-aid approach to it, sort of trying to fix it. But I must also comment on Governor Dapo Abiodun's response to it, which I think he handled with much aplomb, with tact. At the same time, I also saw a lot of diplomacy in it because we really don't know what his statement means. There's a lot of ambiguity in there. So let's get your take on this, Steve.
All right, thanks, Abby. It was an interesting day, the zenith of the heightened political period, leading to the primaries of the APC, which is coming up, on Monday. Interestingly, I like the fact that both sides have tried to defend, what happened in Abeokuta. Asiwaju was actually in Oyo State and in Abeokuta, to consult with delegates. But of course, it was what he said in Abeokuta, that has become the major issue that everybody is talking about. Anybody who knows Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu closely will know that he take him out of prepared text, he doesn't suffer fools gladly. And it did show in what he said that he looks like he was ready to fight. The gentleman who heads his campaign organization, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, a fine, refined, brilliant professional journalist, who attempted a kind of corrigendum in what Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu said, as only, played to what people were saying, that every time Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu speaks extempore, there will always be a need for clarification. And that's what Mr. Onanuga has done. But I didn't see anything in that clarification, other than to say that he didn't mean to disparage the president, that he merely stated the facts. I didn't see any apology to the person of the president on the one hand and the governor of Ogun State on the other hand. If we borrow the phrase from the chairman of the PDP after their primary, when they went to salute the governor of Sokoto State, Dr. Yochia, you said you're the hero, said to Aminu Tambuwa that you're the hero of the convention. For me, I think the hero of that interesting drama on Wednesday, was it, or on Wednesday, was the governor of Ogun State, President Akpo Abiodun, who showed what the Yorubas will call the Omoluabi ethos. Because let us be frank, what was said about him by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was not very nice. You can't refer to anybody as a lay. That one, that was dismissive, that was denigrating, that was not very tidy. That's not gentlemanly. He's a sitting governor. Even if you have had the privilege of being instrumental to him becoming the governor of Ogun State, there are ways that you can communicate that without insulting the sitting governor. You've been a governor yourself.
In his own home.
He's like the leader of the delegates that you are seeking their understanding. Yeah. And if you watch the entire clip, you see that at the end of the clip, Asiwaju did, prostrate for the delegate, pleaded with them, begged them to say that I'm here not to brag. I'm here to solicit your support. I'm dobaling, I'm prostrating for you. But Governor Akpo Abiodun, after all that Asiwaju said, stood up to say that without any reference whatsoever, to that homrage, to say that we will do what is right. That this is a man who has shown by his character, but by everything that he has done in trying to become the president of the country, shows that the South, and indeed, if you microzone it, further, the Southwest deserves that position. Now, what is interesting is that we have not heard anything from the camp of the president. And I think that is instructive, because what said that day, the said and done, the unsaid, the inference, what Mr. Nunga called, interpretation. You can't interpret what was very clear. The ethnic slur about Fura, I didn't beg for Fura from him. You could say that you didn't beg for soup, you didn't beg for Gary. But once you move from that point to an ethnic-oriented content, to say that you didn't beg for Fura from him, you have moved into a territory that is very volatile, sensitive, and not very, it's something unbecoming of the sort of office that you seek, to be. I hope that Asiwaju will, and his team will learn, going forward, to be able to insist on comportment, on propriety, on moderation, on not letting it all out. Because if you recall, Abeokuta has always been a kind of, where he pours it out. If you trace it from 2014, 2015, when he claimed that he was instrumental to making Buhari the president, it was Asiwaju that led the team of the APC then to former President Olusegun Obasanjo, where he prostrated and asked the man to be their navigator in leading the charge to remove former President Goodluck Jonathan. You can't turn around 7-8 years after to say that it was all about you, and that after God, it was you. I will not discount or discountenance what Asiwaju did in bringing about that coalition that is today known as APC. I won't. He played a major, formidable role as an individual and as the leader of the ACN that moved, to APC. But he wasn't the only one.
That's very true.
Buhari, if there was anybody at all that should take credit for making Buhari president, the first person that ought to be listed is Buhari himself.
Exactly.
Because nobody came with 12 million votes. Yes, it is agreed that he has tried 2-3 times before 2014, 2015. But then there was CMPP. one of the presidential candidates of APC, Dr. Ogun, chairman AMPP, was part of that coalition. Refined, fantastic gentleman, bringing the Igbo bloc there, and you have not had any scandalous, any untoward comment from that gentleman. Without the new PDP, 5 sitting governors and 2 governors sitting inside the PDP but working against President Goodluck Jonathan, it will not have happened.
Yeah.
Will you discount what Amechi did? Will you discount what Bukola Saraki, Tambua, Fashola, Governor Fahimi, all of them coming together? I agree, as I said, that the leader of the charge from the Southwest was Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But then, it was not CPC and ACN that made it happen. Buhari himself came with 12 million bankable votes. And in any case, no other person in 2014-2015 will have fit the bill to run against a sitting president and defeat him. You also cannot take away the role that the international community, played in making sure that a change happened. Right. John Kerry, who at that time was the Secretary of State for the United States, was in Nigeria at a point, and it was clear where the American government, was headed. They wanted a change. If you put all those together, you know that what Asiwaju did was just part of the combo to ensure that Buhari became the president. But who will have guaranteed 12 million votes as at that time? It was only Buhari. And what everybody did was to rally around a figure that could defeat an incumbent. Right. It took ACN, it took Buhari CPC, ANPP from Dr. Ogbonnaya, a faction of ABGA, which I think Okorocha, came from, and of course the international community, and the new PDP with Amechi, Bukola Saraki, Governor of Kwara State, Governor of Sokoto State, etc., coming together. I think that moderation in moving forward will be important.
Right.
We can't continue to say that it is after God, it is about me. Yeah. Otherwise, you'll be reinforcing the point about the fact that without you being in charge of the country, you are not approachable. We can't control you. We can't appease you. Yeah. We can't, therefore, it will be tough. If people have been wondering that is it safe to give power to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I think what happened.
And I think very quickly, Steve, and there are so many other undertones to this particular statement. We spoke last week about some unspoken, some unknowns, yes, as I mentioned, did. And I think they're beginning to, come to the forefront. Mm-hmm. Whether you have a gentleman's agreement, that's between the two of you. I've not heard anything about the people. It's my turn. It is very I. And that in itself, absolutely. So also vilifying the North. So many undertones. So not a good move.
But let's hope, of course, that Monday will bear good fruit and that they will sort, the issues that they have among themselves. But we proceed. The Lagos State government has commenced the crushing of about 2,000 motorcycles seized following the enforcement of the policy banning the operations in 6 local government council areas of the state, which started on June 1st. Officials of the state government, including 2 cabinet members, supervised the operation, which they say it to further send strange signals that the government is serious about its policy to stop the operations of the commercial motorcyclists and replace them with a befitting alternative according to its strategic transport master plan. Our Rice News correspondent, Tokumbo Yetuji, has the details.
Not a few Lagos roads are now experiencing almost zero record of commercial motorcycle activities, at least in the 6 local government council areas where the state government has now restricted their operations effective June 1. The enforcement of the ban has led to arrest and seizure of hundreds of motorcycles from defiant operators, and here is what is happening to the seized 2-wheelers. 2,000 of the motorbikes are to be destroyed through this process in what officials call an action to demonstrate how serious the government is in phasing out commercial motorcycle from the transportation scheme of Nigeria's economic capital.
I'm happy you have seen the way they have been crushed, so that anybody who has any doubt that these Okadas may return to town, such a doubt is not going to be realistic. This is what is going to be happening to them. And another thing that this is supposed to do is to send a signal, a very strong signal, to anybody who feels that despite the pronouncement of Mr. Governor, he can come and run Okada business in any part of Lagos. One thing that I can assure you is what you have seen today, you will continue to see for any Okada that has been taken out. In the first quarter of this year, about 5,000 have been crushed like this, and then the operation is going to continue.
There's a bus reform going on, so we have our BLT programs. We have 3 BLTs currently running. We have 14 in the strategic transport master plan. It's important that we move people in masses. From one point to the other. We can't continue to move people in small numbers, and that's why we're investing in the rail, we're investing in the BLT, we're reforming the bus sector, we're reforming our water transportation. The government has invested in more boats, and most importantly, we're integrating all the various modes of transport so that people can move from one mode to the other seamlessly and then pay with just one ticket.
According to officials, the compliance rate of the total restriction of the motorcyclists has been good in the affected areas, and there are plans to sustain it in the next phase of implementation.
Since on the 1st of June, there has been more than 85% compliance. 85% compliance in the sense that we don't see Okadas on the road, on the express any longer. The number has drastically reduced. But I know for sure, and I'm passing this information to them because they are watching us. They might be of the belief that the first 1 week of the enforcement will be thorough. So another phase will start on Monday. These 3 first days of enforcement is just to test run it, to check the number of compliance. Then the sustainability plan is the next phase, which we are going to enter on Monday.
For those demanding more explanations on why the ban on what has become a popular mode of transportation in a city constantly burdened with heavy vehicular traffic and one with a huge gap in its mass transit, here is some official response.
In the first 4 months of this year, we had 1,712 Okada accidents. Of these, 700 off-road accidents. Of the 1,712, 767 were due to Okada. And the people who died in this accident and who got their limbs broken, 45% of them are young people between the ages of 30 and 39. So if we are taking Okada off the road, we are helping our young people to stay alive. They are very fantastic people who are into entertainment, who are into technology, and no government who is responsible will watch and see that their bloods are being spilled on the road, or because they are mounting Okada every day.
It is a mixed feeling for commuters and road users in Etiosa, Ikeja, Surulere, Lagos Island, Lagos Mainland, and Apapa local council areas where the full ban is now operational, but it is certainly not a good one for owners of these motorbikes, some of whom are also going through prosecution for defying the rules of the ban. Tokunbo Oyetunji, Arise News, Lagos.